so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the godwoman. The Eternals returned to the world. In the eyes of the God King, Fane was redeemed. He returned to his studies. Dwarves, elves, lizards, and humans all became slaves, ruled over by the Sworn and the Eternals. The God King had defeated the Seven and returned from the void. Relics of the old world remained, but in time they crumbled and fell, like the memories of the peoples who had built them, lost to time like sand in the wind, but not lost to Fane. Fane would never forget. As for me, I was freed of one covenant only to be enslaved once more. But I am fortunate. I serve Master Fane now. My task? To chronicle the rise and fall of the Godwoken. This was their story. Master, I hope you approve.
Dare look me in the eyes, slave, for that is all you are now that you bow to the God King. The world as we know it will soon come to an end, and welcome an undead wasteland in its stead. Emperor of the dead, to sit on a cold grey throne amid a vast necropolis? Never. Your battle may have ended, mine continues.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but I state the obvious. Get an eyeful. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time. It isn't going to be easy cleaning up this mess you've made. It might not even be possible. I don't know how I could have been so wrong about you. I'm never wrong.
A cruel smile spreads across her lips.
Tell your God King he'll have to send much more than you to silence me. Until we meet again, all the best to you.
You just gave in to him? You've ruined everything. I want you to know that. Now get out of my sight.
Leave me alone, okay?
You know what you've done. You've signed my death warrant, fool. The God King won't stand to the likes of me in this world. Not after I abandoned his cause.
No. This world is one of your making, and it'll be yours to suffer in. I have prospects in other realms. I am nobody's tool. You never really knew me at all, did you?
Beast's spirit does not acknowledge you as you approach. He only sings, slowly, achingly, sadly.
You hear the wild beast just sails on the ocean is docked. Your cupboard can't hide you, nor can your...
He pauses, then continues to hum, all the while working his ghostly whiskers. Spits at your feet and stares at you with a curled lip. Sabine twirls her needle, her face set in a defiant scowl.
The void is open and the ancients rise. The sky, the water, the land, all of it diseased like rotting cattle flesh. And you dare wonder why I am angry?
She turns away, still toying with the needle. She has no more words to offer you.
Ah, you.
Ifan folds his arms and steps back from you, as if your presence is infectious.
I suppose the ascension of the God King is proof that I've got really bad taste in friends. After all that we've been through since Fort Joy, after all that, to end up with a tyrant once more, to settle for slavery and corruption over change.
He fixes you with a steely gaze, eyes burnished and shining like pebbles of hatred.
Your thanks are as hollow as your promises. I intend to spend the remainder of my days seeking to undo what you have done. It may not be possible, but when did that ever stop me before?
Ifan pauses, as if about to say something else, then shakes his head. With one last nod, he whistles up his soul wolf and lopes off.
As I was called to be, I am yours to command. My will is of no consequence, even as we sail into darkness. And so, I am at the ready. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but given her skill, not a surprising one. A shame I must be given life anew to know the pain ahead, a pain that will endure.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, but you know it is not to last. The sails flutter in the wind, yet you know they are soon to still. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. And what of you? What of you, feign the eternal indeed? You were the key to it all. You brought the Eternals back to the world and saw the God King enslave the thieves. you set right the original wrong. And the 7 were punished for their transgression. Are you proud of all you achieved? Or are you ashamed of your sins?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. Dallas the Hammer, the secret eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the source to close the veil to the void. The world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their source were erected all across Rivellion. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon malady took pity on the soulless, God-woken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the God-woken, freed from the weight of the world. As for me, I was already free, and so were the others. The God-woken sacrifice severed the bond between the Sworn and the God King. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the God-woken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellion had ever known.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. A silent monk. At least that's what you'd be if it weren't for Malady. She's Malady, the one and only. She's greater, I dare say, than we dare dream. Like I would about the return of the codpiece, that it's highly unfashionable. The man's a man, all too prone to the weaknesses of the heart. We've seen the results of his errors firsthand. I give it a week before he errs anew. Yes, well, that's to say, that's love, not... All right, the lady. Besides, Lucian. Perhaps even a god deserves a second chance, even if he is a god without powers. As for myself, I'm counting on a second chance as well. Why, I mean my empire, of course. I intend to go home as soon as I can. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Can't be helped, I'm afraid. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense, the sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadha. Long to finally have the time to love. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you'll recall, despite having no culinary skills whatever, as per your own testimony, you can tailor and groom. Two quite indispensable talents. At the time, of course, I couldn't have foreseen the adventure ahead, but now that it's quite over, I'd like to renew the opportunity for you to become my slave. What say you? Well, that's settled then. You're very welcome to my house indeed. We'll feast and reminisce. But in the meantime, my boots are not going to clean themselves. You'll have to wear a collar again, by the by. Nothing you're not used to. You'll have to wear a collar again.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Ah, there you are. More than a silent monstrosity, less than a god. In the end, I'm not totally convinced it was worth my while to restore your consciousness, seeing what you've done with it so far. Where did I go wrong? Ugh. I'd been counting on sacrificing my health and happiness for a future god, you know, not a silent monk in waiting. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask, covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up and down.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a level 300. I'd say we've earned it. Perhaps our paths will cross again. Perhaps not. Until we find out.
No more swords, no more powers. Don't worry, darling. I know you have plenty of other qualities. Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet for Mahalia and I. A roaring fire and... But a girl needs some fun, doesn't she? Reform my ways. How adorable.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. Almira pouts in disappointment, but it quickly morphs into a devilish grin.
Oh, no matter. We'll always have our first kiss. I haven't been quite able to put it out of my mind. Just...
Are you okay?
Lucy looks at you intently, as though searching for defects. She smiles and inclines her head.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were lacking in imagination. I must admit, that was rather noble of you. A world without source is one that will need individuals of wit and intellect. A sharp mind is the only magic now. I believe I shall enjoy this new world very much. That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me. No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most, but myself naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world, beings that feed on minds. I intend to seek them out. This Gustafjan seems to guard portals to their realm. But once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world? There's another for the taking.
You're here, and I'm here. If just barely. Thank the gods or whomever for malady. One can hardly get to the truth without one's tongue, after all.
The shadow of a smile passes over her lips.
I'm glad to. I'll serve my people as best I can. I'm theirs now, and they are mine. But I won't forget what we shared. I'll never forget that. We love each other after all.
A kiss, and oh, how sweet she tastes.
Let's do good, both of us. We may as well serve as examples to the god we call our friend.
The betrayer.
Ifan folds his arms and steps back from you, as if your presence is toxic.
I suppose this is proof I've got really bad taste in friends. After all that we've been through since Fort Joy, after all that, to end up with Lucian once more, to settle for abject corruption over change.
He fixes you with a steely gaze, eyes burnished and shining like pebbles of hatred.
It was absolutely not. You listened to Lucian. You obeyed Lucian. After everything he did, you allowed him to take our source. And now you have restored a tyrant to power. I intend to spend the remainder of my days seeking to undo what you have done. It may not be possible, but when did that ever stop me before?
Ifan pauses, as if about to say something else, then shakes his head.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I cannot say whether the future brings peace or pain, but I will always be an ally to those that carry swords, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old. And so, as always, I am at the ready.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. At last, the world was at peace. As the races united behind Lucian, Arx remained the center of power. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. With their queen dead and the Voidwoken gone, the dwarves held the greatest party in the history of dwarfdom. A new king took the throne, the local brewer. 6 days later, he was stabbed to death with a mutton fork. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Braccus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arx became a great metropolis, famed for its prosperity, its culture, its diversity, and the willingness of its denizens to stab each other in the back for the slightest advantage. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the wizard became one of Lucian's most trusted advisors once more. He always knew that something had changed in the divine. He never discovered what that was, or if he did, he never said a word. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. She founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering the last of the undead shelter from fortune hunters, novelty seekers, and ghouls. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. He made a fortune. With Lucian in power, Sahala took the elves away from the world. They grew strong once more, amidst the trees of the regrown home forest. Only the new mother kept Sahala's plans for revenge from fruition. But the mother had a secret weapon. Tova, Sahala's mother, keeps Sahala's anger at bay. Lucian returned as divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellion. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. With a small band of elves, Ifan ben Mesd replanted the lost elven forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, he disappeared, and was never seen again. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forests still. As the new mother, Sabine found a great forest, and founded a new elven homeland. Elves flocked to her, and worshipped her as a goddess. Sabine swore never to kill again, but once in a while she'd look at her needle and smile. The Red Prince came home a hero. With Sada, he had more dragons. Soon, Prince became Emperor, one who would not use his dragons for conquest. His realm knew peace. and the world did not burn. And then there was you. In a world of peace, you could live forever. Your future was yours to decide. But you were a sorcerer no more. Did you accept your new status with gratitude, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth, you and one other. But of him you are free. The God King no longer calls your name. He no longer whispers your shame. Only you know if you atone for your sins.